I have one bone to pick with Miami fans in particular. Look, Kendrick Perkins is my guy. That's my buddy. That is my friend. That is my co-host on Hoop Streams. He always looks out. He's a great teammate, and I love working with him. But I've been rocking with Miami for the longest. Kendrick Perkins comes out and says, them goons, and y'all, and I'm like, I'm the goddamn mayor of Heat Island. Where was this love for me when nobody was telling y'all that y'all were going to beat the Bucks? I said that. When nobody was telling y'all were going to beat the Celtics, I said that. And so now it comes to the finals, and he said they got a 0% chance of winning. He rocking with LeBron. That was before game one. And everyone's like, oh, Perk, how dare you? I'm like, nah, that's what y'all get, man. Y'all had the love of a good man right here. I come home every night. I don't look around, and y'all were looking for flashy things, looking for the ball player. That's what you get when you end up with a ball player.
I mean, I don't know about the rest of Miami, but here on the Black Carpet, we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you here, you know?
Thank you.
I ain't gonna lie, that whole Kendrick Perkins whole goons thing, I was rocking with him. I actually started following him because of it. But that, I digress. I digress.
The Al Freeze? What's going on?
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, she froze badly. Oh, man. Oh, look who popped in.
She's back.
Is she?
Hey. She's back? You got to move. We got to move to make sure.
You got to keep doing this.
You got to Stevie Wonder it. Turn your camera. Turn your camera off and then turn it back on.
Oh,
there it is. Oh, now you're moving. Keep moving. Keep moving.
All right.
There it is.
Now she's frozen like this. Hey, we should keep that up just like that.
There it is. Yeah, it looks like she thinks I'm full of shit. So that's.
Al, you know this is going in the show, right? So everybody's gonna see.
Keep it in there.
See, this is how we do it, bro. So yeah.
Beauty and the flaws.
Story time with me. I'm even getting a little relaxed.
All right. So I'm gonna give you. I'll give you the option. I can either tell you a Goran Dragic story, or I can tell you a Shaquille O'Neal story. Both those guys have Miami ties, so I'm gonna let Miami pick it.
I'm gonna go with Shaq.
Okay. All right. So when we first acquired Shaq, he was injured. A lot of people thought his career was over, but our training staff looked at him on video and said, "Oh yeah, this isn't working, and all he has to do is do like 2 weeks of corrective exercise, and he'll be fine." And sure enough, 2 weeks later, he was back on the court and playing. But when he first came in, I'm talking about he first landed. He came in and we brought him in at midnight to come work out. And so I was a video coordinator at the time, and I'm one of the people who's always around. Like I'm just there. So like, Amin, come on the court. All right. And so we had one of the coaches, and we were doing like pick and rolls, and like we teach our bigs to slip the pick and roll. So it's just like a light tap, and just slip to the basket. And so I'm playing the role of the defender who's guarding the ball handler. So Shaq comes up, sets the screen and slips, and he light taps me. And it felt like a train had just come, and whoosh. Now I was like stumbling, and he's like, yo, stop flopping. I was like, I'm not flopping. This dude, he doesn't know how to light touch anything. So then they were like, all right, we're going to come out of the pick and roll, and then they're going to swing the ball to me, and then I'm going to throw an alley to Shaq. And so I throw the alley, and they're like, it's too low. And I throw the alley, it's too low. They said, me, just throw it to the shot clock. So I'm literally like just throwing that shit up into the sky. I'm like, there's no chance he's going to catch it. And he just run up and he just catch it and dunk it. So after the workout, Shaq says to me, what's your name? And I said, my name's Amin. And he says, oh, are you Muslim? And I said, yeah. And he's like, so am I. Salam alaikum, brother. And he starts asking me a bunch of questions. And I'm like, wow, Shaq's Muslim. I had no idea. And like, I kind of knew his father had converted, but I didn't know that Shaq was, or his stepfather, had converted, but I didn't know Shaq was. And I'm like, that's one of those things, because you hear about a lot of times there's all these celebrities that are Muslim, but they're not public with it for whatever reason. I'm like, that's real cool. So, and I called my folks. I'm like, yo, Shaq is da-da-da. And everyone's like, oh, cool. So like 2 or 3 days later, we have a game. Game day, they have a spread.
Mhm.
And so the spread that night was barbecue ribs. So I'm walking in the locker room and Shaq has got the to-go box and he's just loading these pork ribs into the to-go box. And I'm like, big fella. I said, yo, that's pork, man. That's swine. You can't eat that. And he said, what's today? And I said, it's Tuesday. He said, on Mondays I'm Muslim, on Tuesdays I'm not. And kept putting that. I'm like, there you go. That was my introduction to Shaq. Oh, he's a jokester. Shaq, there's so many Shaq stories, and every Shaq story always ends with him lying one way or another. Like, I've told this story before, but I'm gonna tell it one more time.
One more time.
The movie Notorious came out, and so we got to advance screen it. When you're in an NBA team, a lot of times, like movie studios will send you advanced screening for movies. You get to watch them before they come out, and it's not always like the finished version. So I remember we got Semi-Pro before it came out, the Will Ferrell movie.
Okay, yeah.
We love that movie. But we watched Notorious, and after it, we were all in the locker room, and Grant Hill was telling everybody, yo, you know, like me and Tamia were at the Vibe party that Biggie got shot at afterwards, right? After he left, right? Because Tamia's godfather was Quincy Jones.
Oh, right.
And Quincy Jones on the Vibe or whatever. And I think Grant Hill was playing the Clippers that weekend or whatever. So this is when him and Tamia were still dating. So they went, and then like they called it a night early and they left. And then like 30 minutes later, Biggie left and he got shot on Fairfax in LA. And so everyone's sitting there and we're like, wow, that's a crazy moment in history. You were there. And Shaq's all the way at the end of the locker room, at his locker, and he's like sitting there with his arms folded. He's like, that ain't nothing. And we turn around like, yo, you got a better story than that? And he says, yeah. It was me and Uncle Jerome. Uncle Jerome is his security guy. We were at this tattoo parlor on Sunset. And then Biggie and Little C's walked in. And they're getting tats and we're getting tats. And then they say, hey, what's popping tonight? And Shaq said, not much. He said, what are y'all into? And they said, we're going to this Vibe party. And Shaq said, don't do that. And then he sat back in his chair as if to say, and the rest is history.
Wow.
And so it's according to Shaq, if like Biggie had listened to him, he never went to that party, he wouldn't have got shot. But like again, in every Shaq story, you got to take with a grain of salt. Like the time he told us he was in Beat Street. Remember the old school movie Beat Street with the breakdancing? Yeah.
Breakdancing.
He said he was in Beat Street. And he said, you don't believe me? Look it up. And so we got it. And we got our other video coordinator was a white guy named Noel. Shout out to Noel Gillespie. He's a coach of the Atlanta Hawks G League affiliate now.
Shout out.
But like Noel was this dude who had like the biggest collection of movies. It don't matter what it was. Like every movie, black movie, white movie, every movie. He had Dolomite. He had all the movies. So I got Beat Street. I'm going to bring it in tomorrow. So he brings it in, and the whole team after practice, we put it in the film room and we're watching. And we get to the part where there's like a talent show, and there's these two kids, and one kid is like this tall, and the other kid is like 7 feet tall. And I won't lie, he kind of looks like Shaq. And Shaq's like, there you go, that's me. And they win like the breakdancing competition. And we're like, hold up, is this really him? Like we're starting to believe it. And I got my laptop out. I went on IMDb. I was like, bro, there's someone else's name as the kid who breakdancer #1 or whatever. And Shaq said, yes, because of child labor laws, they wouldn't let me use my real name. And I said, bro, you know how many child actors are on TV, man? Ain't no child labor laws. And it turned out Shaq just made it up because he knew he looked like the kid. And it was fun.
Hey, but it's funny that when you get to that particular, and you're that.
Yeah, because people will go, look, I'm going to tell you something about Shaq. He's not a liar. He's just a guy who likes to see how far he can take the story. Because he'll tell you a story and you'll listen to it, and the beginning will be true. But then he'll just keep going, just see how long you're going to believe it. Because it's Shaq, nothing is out of the realm of imagination, right? Like maybe this did happen, right? He said he was kidnapped one time, and he fought his way out from the kidnapping by using the silverware from his to-go dinner. And I was like, big fella, I've been to a lot of restaurants. I've been to some really fancy ones. I've never seen a restaurant where they give you a metal fork and knife. They give you the plastic joints. And whenever you call him on it, he'll just smile, like this big smile, like you got me. Because he just wants to see how long he got you.
I'll be like, who's kidnapping your 7 foot tall,
Look, man,
300? Who's
this dude lives a movie. He lives a movie. And the problem is some of this stuff is real. Some of these stories are partially real. So like, you never know.
What's up, Al?
Listen, I have one more question before we have some fun and we send you off to be Darth Amin. How was your transition from being an executive to a television sports analyst?
It was so. That's a weird way. That's a weird question because, or it's a weird answer to that question.
Wow.
My fault. I was like, I don't know why am I killing the question here? That question sucks. No. So for me, it wasn't a direct jump. I was actually looking for a job in the NBA, kind of like after I'd split ways with Phoenix. And what happened was I had a buddy who worked at ESPN. His name is Henry Abbott. And Henry had a podcast. He'd always wanted me to do the podcast, but I could never do it because the team won't let, team representatives just speak or whatever, right? So as soon as I was out, he's like, hey, well, can you do like a digital video now with me? And I said, sure. And I thought like someone else would see it and say, who's he? And then I would get, some looks off of that. And what ended up happening was I did one, they liked it. They said, you want to do another one? I did another one. And someone at ESPN was like, who's he? Because we're looking for someone to write for this website about the NBA from a front office perspective. So at that point, I'd never written anything in my life. I only wrote like scouting reports and college papers. So I didn't know how to write. Like I said, I didn't know anything about journalism. So I said, I'll give it a try. So they made me write a sample piece and they liked it. And they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pay you like freelance rate. We'll do 10 pieces. You'll get paid by the piece. If at the end of the 10 pieces, we like you and you like doing this, we'll talk about something more, bigger or whatever. And so I think after the third or fourth one, they flew me to Bristol to like meet with people and start negotiating. And eventually they signed me to like a straight cash homie contract. And that took me through the end of that year, like to the end of 2013. And then December 2013, I signed like a deal. And it was a 3-year deal. And they said at the end of the third year, you might do some TV. And literally 6 months after that, I was doing Sports Center. I did Sports Center for the draft. And I just thought it was a one-off. And they said, hey, that was the summer that LeBron was leaving Miami. Okay. And so remember, he didn't make his decision for a long time. So they just kept bringing me back week after week. So what's the latest with LeBron and what are the options and what's happening with the free agent market and da-da-da. So I did that for that summer and they liked it so much. They said, we want to put you on the rotation for the year. And so I said, sure. And much like my Dan Le Batard story, I thought that meant like you guys are going to call me at my house. So like in November, whenever the season started, they're like, Amin, where are you at? The producer's looking for you. Like, I'm in my house. And they're like, no, you need to be here. I said, oh, I thought y'all were going to do it on the phone. Like, no. I literally booked a flight that night and flew out to catch the rest of because they usually book you for 3 or 4 days, not like one day. So I flew out to Bristol and then started doing Sports Center. And then from there, like other shows would notice you and you get looks on other shows. And that's how it went. But in terms of doing the TV part, I never had training. I never had anyone tell me this is what you do. This is where you look or any of that stuff. I just figured like there's a camera. I talk to the camera or I talk to the host, the person who asked me the question. And a lot of that to me seemed like pretty straightforward, which is in a weird way. I always tell people, man, like I always wonder, do we all have secret skills that we don't know about because we never tried it, right? For instance, for me, Ninja Warrior, I was like, yeah, what if I'm going to be awesome at this, right? Like, I don't know. I watch the show all the time. Maybe it's just like that. And so you go out there, you realize, no, I don't have that secret skill. But if you had told me 10 years ago, hey, you're going to be really good on TV without ever having done TV, I don't know. I'm like, oh, I guess, it's kind of like someone coming up to you right now. Yo, you want to be an astronaut? Well, I never really thought about it, but all right, let's give it a go.
Hey, man, we appreciate you making that jump because obviously you're great.
A lot more fun.
Twitter is a lot more fun. You look like you're having fun, brother. You look like you're smiling.
It's always fun when the bills are paid. On top.
Exactly. You're able to grow out your hair.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
telling you nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can do what you want to do. All right. I know you're a big hip hop fan, obviously, and so obviously there's a whole new era of hip hop that us old school heads are probably don't listen to. So it's kind of teetering the question of the greatest of all time. Say all time list, or should we categorize them by, eras, type of rappers, so on and so forth? Because it gets mucky a lot. Because before COVID, I saw a lot of industry people putting out their top 50, and none of them look the same.
Right.
So as a hip hop head growing up, I got the Mobb Deep joint going.
Yeah.
So how you feel about that? And talk about your love of hip hop.
I'm gonna say this. I think music is so subjective. What's banging for you may not be banging for some people. What like pricks your ear, makes you look up, may not be something that the other person does. And then sometimes two people who don't like any of the same music can find a common space on an artist or on a particular song, whatever. And that's just because our brains are all different. It's not like, for instance, like watching track. I can tell you Usain Bolt was the fastest man ever. How do you know? Because they measure it, and that dude ran faster than everybody else. But I can't tell you that a Prince song is better than a Michael Jackson song, because it might be to me, but you may not like it. You may not. There's whatever the harmony and melody or whatever. So we always got to keep that in mind. Having said that, I think when you talk about the greatest of all time, I think you try to, as far as hip hop goes, I always think to myself, you want to be someone who incorporates all the different levels of it, right? So there are some guys who are, as my buddy Waz says, rappity rap rappers, right? Super lyrical, da 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 da. But it's like, does he have a song that I could play in the club that girls are like, oh, get on the floor? Like, if not, then that kind of eliminates you in a certain way. Same thing, like there's some guys who make songs that are anthems, sell 15 million records, and you go to like Czechoslovakia and people who don't speak English are dancing to this song, right?
Right.
But he's not really lyrical like that. All his stuff is kind of sing-songy, mad basic, right? There are guys who are great like studio rappers, would come on stage for a live show, zero energy, just that your voice doesn't even sound the same, like that. So to me, it's like, who brings all those things together? You can respect him lyrically, but he also makes music for fun times. He can talk about serious stuff, he can talk about some hood stuff, and a live show is always great. To me, that's always a notorious B.I.G. Like,
hey,
you'll never tell me someone could, even though Jay-Z has had a catalog that's at this time 1,000,000 times deeper and done great things and done every single kind of thing you can do in the music business. I'm like, but he's not better than Big. Because first of all, Big like ripped the whole blueprint off. He gave him the blueprint on how you do this. How do I walk in between both worlds? How do I be Most Def when I need to be, and be Ice Cube when I need to be, and be Busta Rhymes when I need to be, and be Ja Rule when I need to be? Like, Biggie could do all those things. And to me, that's always a sign of like mastery of the craft. When you're like, what do you want me to do? Same reason why, like, I said Greg Popovich is the greatest coach of all time. People say, why? I said, because Phil Jackson won however many he won, but he did it one way. Phil Jackson was a battle rapper, and all he did was battle rap, and he was successful as hell doing it. But Pop did it with post-ups, and then Pop did it with pick and rolls, and then Pop did it with emotion offense, and whatever you gave me, Pop could take and make it special. So Pop could do pop tracks, and Pop could do battle raps, and Pop could do live shows, and Pop could do super spiritual neo soul stuff. He did it every single way, and to me, that's a sign of I've mastered this.
So who's the who's the Popovich of music, and who's the Phil Jackson?
Ooh, so the Pop is the greatest of all time, so that's Biggie to me. The Phil Jackson. So who's great but great at doing it one way?
DMX. Like
DMX is definitely, but no, DMX has
he's
got because he's got like the soulful, like the stuff where you talking about real stuff. So it's got to be someone who's just all the way, just one way. Who's all the way, just one way, but everybody loves him for it, like never change.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh, Tekashi, there you go. That's a good name. He's all the way that way.
I just had to throw him out there. Oh boy. I know we had a lot to get to. We actually got to a lot. We want to bring you back. Albie's Wi-Fi been out, so we want to just get out of here. We want to say thank you. You have any? Actually, just one shout out that my UK family, because the black carpet is pushed by the scene. So I have my UK family over there. So they heard you on the show. They're big fans, so they just want to say thank you. My cousin Andre. So he said, his question was like, how do you feel about the whole UK scene? Obviously adapting with the whole NFL coming over and obviously US sports going over there, because he's on that.
I got a lot of family in the UK too, and they tell me that it ain't never going to take off because British people like what they like, and they ain't going to learn to love football, and they ain't going to learn to love basketball. You might as well just keep that shit over there. And I'm like, okay, that's what they've always said to me. So I don't know, but shout out to the UK. Shout out to all my people out in London, on the west side, on West London, south side of London, Brixton, all that stuff.
Hey.
Yeah, I wrote deep in England. I wrote deep. A lot of that is because of my cousins and the music they do, and so they're big out there. So, shout out to them. Also want to just do a quick plug for a couple of podcasts that I do. BOMM, Black Opinions Matter. That's our culture podcast. We talk about everything that's happening in the culture, whether it's TV shows. We're following Lovecraft Country on HBO, and Power, obviously, on Stars. Whether it's things that are happening. This week's episode, we talked about what's happening in Armenia, and like bringing awareness to that situation. We talk about fun things like dating apps and the nightmare situation to get into that. It's all kind of stuff from the Black perspective. BOMM, wherever you get podcasts. The other podcast that I'm actually about to record right now as soon as I'm done with you guys is called Cinephobe. This is the podcast I do with my buddy Zach Harper. We basically take movies that are rated poorly on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. We watch them, and then we figure out whether they were accurately rated or where they were actually trashier than what they were rated. We do it with a lot of fun. We do it with a lot of comedy. We do a lot of sound bites in there. So definitely check it out. Cinephobe, also wherever you get podcasts.
There you go. We got ESPN Amin on the black carpet. We want to say thank you. Obviously, we have it all down here. Remember to like, subscribe to the show. All of our stuff is down here. All of our apps. I mean, you don't even got to shout them out.
I like to do this right here. Yeah, and then it'll come up.
Yeah, come on. There you go. Appreciate that. We appreciate you, Albie. You got anything else?
No, thank you for coming on. I would love to have you every week, but you're a busy guy.
We gotta look.
So next time.
I'll keep it real with y'all. It's all about evading detection. Because I told Al, I can always be a guest, but I can't be part of the show because, of my contractual situation with ESPN. But they can't stop me from being a guest. So anytime you want me as a guest, I'm happy to come on.
Hey, I appreciate it, brother. Hey, you as a guest, you're a part of the Black Carpet family, even way before I started. You've been a part of this when you were in Miami. We appreciate you, brother. We're so happy to have you on. And we out. We appreciate you guys.